Hey guys, welcome back. Chief Kirk for Kravology. So this week I told you we would save your life again, and we're going to talk about the difference between a knife attack and a knife threat, and why a knife threat is so important to take seriously. And we're going to explore the differences and some of the critical aspects of defending knife threats. So stay with me. All right, so as you can see, I've brought Kane in. He's one of our promising neophyte Padawan Gravis. And today I told you we're going to talk about knife attack versus knife threat. What I really want to key on is the difference between the two and talk to you about addressing the danger with knife threat. I specifically want you to understand why knife threat is dangerous even though the knife's not doing what it needs to do its work. In other words, the knife isn't moving in a knife threat. Well, in a knife attack, the knife is moving. So there's some counterintuitive elements at play here, and I want to talk through them. So Kane's going to face me. We're talking about a knife attack. So as he attacks, one of the things I want to show you is I have a pretty big margin for error. If I make a decent defense, the margin for error runs nearly the length of my arm, my forearm and hand. So as he attacks, I'm making this motion, I'm counterattacking, I'm going in and capturing the arm. But what I want you to see is the knife only comes this close. So you can see that? This close. So I don't know what that is. It's 12 or 15 inches, right? So there's a fairly large margin for error. And in Krav Maga, defenses should be encapsulated in the concept of forgiving. The defense should be forgiving. In other words, if you don't do it optimally, you still have an opportunity to finish the defense successfully, right? So I don't know what we were doing. There's lots of things that can happen. Situational awareness is low, and someone puts a knife to my throat. So this is now not a knife attack, but a knife threat. So the knife comes in. At this point, the knife's not moving. I know my hand needs to move. I need to get to this position, and you can see that what I do is, with that position, by virtue of a body defense and by pushing out to get to the knife to go make the defense, I'm addressing the danger. Here's the issue. Even though the knife isn't moving, Kane only has to initiate movement to create the kind of wound and impact in his attack that he's seeking to with a knife, because the knife is touching me. I'll give you an example. If the knife is here and I do something really crazy and all he has to do is move the knife this much, if he moves the knife that much, I am cut the length of the blade as it started on me. So if he has 3 inches pressed to the blade against me and that 3 inches of the blade moves down, I'm essentially cut plus or minus 3 inches at the target, right? So understand this. This defense is not as forgiving because the knife's not moving but only has to initiate movement to be effective, and the knife has already arrived at its target, right? So in one case, overhead defense, or overhead stab with the defense, I'm going to make counterattack, I'm making this connection, and this connection is pretty far away from me as I reach out, right? Look what I have to do with knife defense, knife threat defense. I have to take the knife to this position. Only now is the distance between me and the knife akin to the overhead attack. So only now, after making an initial addressing the danger, am I starting where I was with the overhead attack. For this reason, your approach to the knife, in terms of your hand moving, your approach to your body defense, the way that you sort of angle off the knife and get a look at it, and the way that you control the knife are vastly important. Not only are they important, they don't offer the same level of forgiveness that an overhead attack, underhead attack, or straight stab does. This is counterintuitive, but it doesn't make it any less true. So when you are training knife threats, you have to remember that you're addressing the danger is critically important, as it always is, but that you have less forgiveness in the technique. So do it well. Next week we'll talk about the process for addressing knife threats and how we deal with the uncertainty surrounding the target being, the knife being already at the target. So look for that next week. Kane, any comments?
I'm good, thanks.
You're good? All right. All right, as always, thanks for tuning in this week, guys. So just remember this. With knife threats, the addressing the danger is less forgiving than knife attacks. The way that you specify the addressing the danger, the movement, the body defense is critically important. We'll talk about it next week. But this week I want you to understand why it is the way it is. So I think if you've seen the video, you do. Tune in next week. We'll talk specifically about how to address this issue. As always, remember to walk in peace and remember to drop down, send us comments, questions, and please don't forget to subscribe.